What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have a review of the Puma Ultra Ultimate. And now this is the speed boot from Puma, and this boot is actually, it's a solid boot. And today we're going to talk about, like the tech specs and like what makes this boot unique, how it feels, how it performs, and all the stuff you would want to know if you guys want to buy these cleats. So I'm going to do my best to give you guys all the information. So first we'll talk about the upper. Now this upper is a full synthetic upper, and to be honest, out of all the like uppers that I've tried from like the latest speed boots, I feel like this is the thinnest. Like this actually doesn't really have like much of a liner. I feel like it has a very thin liner inside, and it's very thin, and so there's like no padding to this upper whatsoever. So I feel like this is like the thinnest upper that I've tried, even comparing it to the Nike Vapor, to the Mizuno Alpha, the New Balance Furon V7. Like this is the thinnest, like most barefoot touch you'll get from a soccer cleat in my opinion. And it also feels like, that classic like speed boot, like old like synthetic uppers. The upper of this boot, it does sound plasticky, if you guys can hear that. I don't know if you guys can hear that really well, but it does feel also plasticky. But once you have it on feet and once you like break them in, it does soften up a lot more. And even though it sounds plasticky, it just feels better on feet. And like I said, the synthetic upper it's pretty good. Once you break them in and all that stuff, it does get a lot softer and it does feel a lot better. I feel like in the beginning they did feel a lot more like stiffer and a bit more plasticky, but like once you get your hours in them, they just soften up and just become more pliable. Even though it still sounds plasticky, it just feels really good on feet. And like I said before, the touch on the ball is very barefoot feeling. On the upper, you do have like this texture right here, if you guys can see. But honestly, you don't really like feel this that much. I feel like it doesn't really provide that much grip on the ball. If anything, like it doesn't really do anything. But it does have like this kind of waxy finish to it. Not as much as the previous Puma Ultra, but you do get somewhat of a like, I guess like a sticky sensation. You feel it more so on hand, not so much on feet. Like the ball doesn't really get stuck as much, but you do feel a little bit of grip on the upper, but just very little. Now the fit of these cleats fit like a speed boot. They are very slim fitting, and as you guys can see, they're like kind of low volume and like very slim. And to be honest, I didn't think I would fit in these really comfortably, because when I first tried them on, like when I first got them, they did really like, hug my foot. It like really squeezed my foot actually, and it just kind of felt uncomfortable. But since I noticed that the upper was a bit like, stiffer right out of the box, I wanted to play in them and see if they would, soften up and maybe even stretch a little. So that's why I kept them. But when I did try them on, they did feel a bit tight. And as you guys know, those that have watched my videos before, I do have like a slightly wider foot. Like I do fit in Vapors. And these honestly I feel like are a bit like slimmer fitting and have like a lower volume compared to Vapors. So if you have like a wider foot, I feel like these aren't really a good choice for for wider footed people. It just doesn't it just won't feel as comfortable in my opinion. Like I feel like I'm at the max of what this boot can handle. I feel like the toe box is pretty like comfortable, but here in the midfoot area, that's where I had kind of the most problems when breaking these cleats in. And like when I did, wear these for the first time, I did get a lot of pinching here on the side. And here on the side is where my foot is the widest. And I did get like a lot of like pinching here, and it kind of did hurt my feet. The first time I wore these, I was only able to play with them for like maybe 40 minutes until I had, I had to switch just because it just was not comfortable like here on the side of my foot. And these actually took me a while to break in. I feel like I had to use them like more than usual. And that's just mainly because of the fit of the boot. Not so much because like the upper was stiff or anything. Just like the fit of the boot is very slim. And since I do have like a wider foot, obviously it just will take time to like, adjust to my feet and stretch a little. And I feel like just this upper just, got a lot softer. And so now I could actually, wear these for a good session. And like the only other thing that did bother me was like this heel area. Like you guys see that they have these like two pads here, and they're pretty soft now, but in the beginning they were a lot firmer. And it kind of did bother my heel a little because like here in the end of it there's no padding. And because they were a lot firmer, like they did kind of like dig into my heel and just felt really uncomfortable when I was playing with them. Like they did really kind of bother me. Like you just felt a lot of pressure here in the heel, and the heel is a bit lower, so it just kind of feels a little like shallow. But like there's no slippage or anything. Your heel isn't like falling out or anything. It just felt a little weird. But like once, I broke them in, probably like the second time I wore these, they did soften up, and now like I don't really have any issues with it. I actually really like how they feel now. But the memory foam at the beginning, it is a bit firmer, so look out for that. In terms of sizing, I did find these guys to run true to size. I went for my usual size 9, and they fit me perfectly, like my toes right on the edge, so I had no problems. So I would just recommend you guys going true to size for these. And now the sole plate of this boot, I feel like there isn't really anything special with the sole plate. Like it does feel like kind of snappy, but to be honest, it just feels like any other sole plate. Like there's nothing really that stands out with this sole plate. The stud pattern is like these chevrons, and it is pretty aggressive. Like it feels solid, it gets the job done, but again, nothing special. And the boot isn't as light as like the previous model. Like this boot did gain some weight. Performance wise, this boot is pretty solid. I didn't find really any issues with like rollover or anything. I feel like it did a good job of like holding my foot, like not letting it roll over. The touch on the ball is nice, again, very barefoot. And the only thing I would say is like the heel just felt a little like shallow. Like it felt like my heel was like coming out, but it never did. It was secure. It just, I just had that sensation in the beginning, but then I got used to that feeling, and so it just didn't really bother me. You do get a little bit of a snapback feeling with this sole plate. Not too much, nothing crazy, but you do get a little bit of that sensation. But yeah, this boot, solid performer, I would say. Now we're going to move on to some free kicks so you guys can see these guys in action. So we'll get into that. Overall, I think that the Puma Future Ultimate is a solid boot, and I feel like this boot just does things right, but it doesn't really stand out in my opinion. Like, to be honest, I wouldn't really pick these over like the Vapors or even the New Balance Hurons or the Mizuno Alphas. Like, I would honestly pick those over these just because I kind of just find them more comfortable, and those boots have like more unique things to them. For example, the Vapor has like that air unit. The Mizuno kind of has like the fit and feel that just feels really, like a custom fit, and New Balance just has a nice like wrap with like kind of burrito style like tongue, and so those boots kind of stand out and are unique. This boot is honestly just very simple, which doesn't mean it's bad. Simple just means that it gets the job done. It has a thin synthetic, solid sole plate. Like nothing bad about this boot, to be honest, and the performance is really good. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hopefully I did give you guys enough information on the Puma Ultra Ultimate. If you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comment section. I will be, looking through them. If you guys do have any questions, I'll be sure to answer them. If you guys did enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like. Also, if you guys like, this content on soccer cleats or football boots, make sure to subscribe. I will be doing more reviews. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.